All right. Right, everybody. Welcome. This is session 2 of our CBA Professional Development Summer Series. It's prepped, polished, and ready. So hopefully you've made it to the right session. We are really, really excited to have all of you continue this series. I'm Kim Heffernan. I'm the Professional Development Coordinator in the College of Business, and I'm coordinating in collaboration with my other colleagues on the professional development team and coordinating this series. I kind of queued it up for those of you who were able to attend the kickoff last week, but just to reiterate, normally we would kind of take a hiatus from programming in the summer, and this summer though just felt a little bit different. That students would be students and recent alums would be in a little bit different situation. They might be available, probably more so than they would be before if were canceled or students are still looking for jobs. And so we thought, let's take advantage of the unique opportunity. Let's give students and recent alums some programming that they can be really helpful to them in their professional development, and also provide an opportunity for some connections. So that is kind of the purpose behind this series. So it's every Wednesday at 1 p.m. June and July, and this is our second session, and we've got a great turnout for that second session, so we're excited about that. I won't take up much more time because I want to give our speakers as much time as possible, but just a couple of kind of best practices. If you could mute yourself when you're not speaking, that'll is not because we don't want to hear from you. That is just to help mitigate some of the background noise. So in fact, I'll be putting myself on mute here. But I do encourage you though to turn on your camera. We would love to see you and get to know you a little bit better by seeing your face. So I encourage you to turn your camera on. We will be taking questions. We want this to be an interactive session. Please use the chat feature. I will be moderating that for our facilitators, and we'll be bringing up any questions that come up in the chat. So we want this to be as interactive as possible. That being said, if you keep yourself on mute and you want to unmute to ask a question, that'll work too. So I think everyone's pretty familiar with WebEx at this point, but you can change the view. So if you're on the top of the screen, if you hover, you can change the view, whether you want a grid view or you want to see the speaker. You can kind of put that, however you'd like to view this section. So with that, we're going to get this kicked off. Prepped, Polished, and Ready is a session we've been offering for a long time, but it's one of our best sessions, but it is obviously been morphed and adjusted a little bit for the virtual environment. And also our speakers today will be talking, about these topics. There's several topics that we'll cover today, just through the lens of our current environment, with everyone kind of being virtual as well. So, and the job market being what it is. So with that, we will move to the next slide, and I will introduce our two facilitators for the day, Andrew Lau and Mario Paul. Andrew Lau works at Goodyear and has been there for quite some time, actually, right, Andrew?
Yeah, this will be my 11th year with the company.
That's great. Andrew is a member, both Andrew and Mario are members of our Marketing Junior Advisory Board, so we are very pleased to have you involved and just grateful to have you as well. Mario is the founder and principal at Narrative Digital Media. So thank you both for being rather than going into a lengthy introduction, I'm actually, if you don't mind, going to turn it over to you. And one of the things we'll talk about today for the students who are on the call is an elevator pitch. And so what I'd like for Andrew and Mario to kind of do is introduce themselves and kind of give you an example of their own elevator pitch. So with that, I will turn it over to Andrew.
Sure. Hello, everyone. So my elevator pitch is a little bit when I meet somebody about my educational background, and then I go into how I started with Goodyear and then my current position. So it's a timeline that spans a decade. I hit a couple of the highlights. So first of all, I say I graduated with my undergraduate from the University of Akron in 2009. So that was during the financial crisis. And then, Dr. Thomas, Andrew Thomas, was my mentor, and he kind of advised me to pursue something I was passionate about, not necessarily the title or specific job positions, but something that you would enjoy doing. So being that I was passionate about cars, I started with Goodyear in the automotive and service business at the retail stores in 2009. And then I decided to go and, do my MBA in 2012. Finished in 2014. So that's within my 5-year plan of when I finished undergraduate to have my MBA within 5 years. Then in a corporate and started doing marketing analytics for our company-owned retail business. Did that for almost 3 years. Then I went into category management, where we manage our products, product life cycle, the pricing, product placement. So I started in ultra high performance tires. Then I went into all-terrain and truck tires. Then I had a stint in revenue management, which is more of a finance role, managing P&Ls and margin profitability. And then I went back into product management at a more senior level for category, because both those categories were struggling for a while. They weren't managed properly, and then they needed kind of a resurgence and a focus on those two categories. So that's where I am currently, and that's about 11 years with Goodyear.
Okay. Hello. I believe that's my cue. I had to remember to take myself off of mute there. But hello, everyone. As Kim said, my name is Mario McHale, and I am the founder and principal of the video production company in Akron called Narrative Digital Media. And I don't personally have an elevator pitch myself. I have one for the company. And what it is Narrative Digital Media, we are your video partner, and we work with companies, small to medium size, to help them save time, boost sales, and tell their story through the power of video. So then, if they like me or not, or if they haven't already walked away, depending on if it's a networking event or if they can't walk away like they're in a Zoom call with me, then I'll tell them more about that. So, but you want to make it something, I mean, just kind of going into elevator speeches here, and you just want to make it something that's memorable, people can walk away with, and it makes them think. I've heard some really nice elevator pitches that ask a question or make someone think about something in a different way. And just any kind of engagement you can get out of someone to make them focus on you, because time and attention, I mean, you guys know today, is so valuable. And anytime you can get someone in a room or in a virtual area, anytime you can get someone to focus on you, that's powerful. So yeah, but I graduated from the University of Akron in 2017 and started full-time at my company right after. And we make videos for businesses. We work with companies, and we figure out what their sales funnel looks like, and then we develop content and strategies to help build video into their sales funnel, and just it works wonders. So I'll keep mine short and simple. So anyway.
That's fantastic. Okay, so I'll kind of move through these slides. I just want to mention we've got several others on the call. We've got students. We've got the chair of our Department of Marketing, Dr. Owens, on the call. Our colleagues in career services. So for those students who have questions, we'd love to hear them. There's a good group here today. So with that, we'll go ahead and move to the next slide.
So Andrew, if we want to just kind of talk through this together, everyone, we had talked before, and I think we kind of came to the conclusion that we're going to go through some stuff, and we're going to go through some slides that Kim had put together. But we're obviously, I mean, this environment is 100% different than what it was, at the start of last semester or even 2 months ago. So we're going to tailor some of this content specifically to you and your situation. I'm not sure how old everyone is in this, if they're seniors, if they're graduates, juniors, but hopefully we make it relevant to everyone. And I don't know, Andrew, you can kind of hop in as needed wherever, and we can tag team it. So,
yeah. Okay, so with the elevator speech, we kind of did our introductions. Your elevator speech is going to vary in length, but you want to keep people's attention. But I think the best reflection of yourself is you want to show your personality, that you're passionate, and something that's interesting about yourself. So when they walk away, that they have that to remember. They want to be the connection of, hey, I just spoke to Andrew or Aaron, and this is what I will remember them about them, and this is what makes me curious, and I want to find out more. How do I connect with them? Can I get their business card? Can I contact them on LinkedIn? But something that whets their appetite about you. So elevator speech could be an achievement that you just had that you want to talk about. It depends who your audience is. So it can be tailored. I would practice a few and just, again, they're highlights and summaries about different points in your life or different achievements that you've done that would catch people's interest. The whole brand yourself, we had discussed this. I think nowadays, especially what I've been hearing in the past year or two, is companies and especially recruiters are encouraging people to be authentic about who they are and how they're represented. So this is the time when a lot of people are going to be doing phone interviews and FaceTiming candidates to see if they're a good fit with the company. Often, and they're going to see that you meet the criteria, but they also want to see, are you passionate? Are you going to be a good cultural fit with their company? And this is where it's going to be your benefit to be authentic about who you are, how you act, what you can contribute, and what your personal agenda is. So you want to make sure that there is alignment between the company's goal, your own professional goals, and your own characteristics and what you value. So you don't want to start with a company, even if they pay well or it's fast promotion. If you're unhappy there and you can't be who you are, we have a lot of employee resource groups that support Pride and Black networks, Asian Pacific businesses, and just different cultural and ethnic groups. So we encourage people to be authentic and bring your whole self to work. That's when you're going to be able to thrive, is if you can feel comfortable in your own kind of clothes. Mario, I think
I going off of what you said, I look for people to hire and work with all the time. I'm looking for a videographer now to hire with, and a lot of what I look for is obviously, are they skilled? Can they do what they are going? Can they do what they say they're going to do? And what's their personality like? Are they going to be a good fit for me, for my organization, for other clients? What are their communication skills looking like? And I get a good sense of that from my first interaction with them. So whenever you have the chance to interact with someone, first impressions matter so much. So make it good. And another thing, just again, going off of what Andrew said about being yourself, is the more authentic you are to yourself, the less you have to memorize and script things out, because it'll just be you talking about what you've done, how you feel. This is who you are. I do want to touch on something though, your value proposition in your elevator speech. So whether you're selling yourself, selling a product, networking, meeting people, ask yourself what you can do to help this person or save them time. That's your value proposition. So if you're applying for a marketing job or something like that, and you have experience building websites or something like that, include that, mention how you can save people time. If you recall, in my company's little sales pitch, it's we help businesses save time, boost sales, and tell their story through video. So right off the back, even if they don't hear anything else, they're walking away with, if we need video work, I know someone who can do these 3 things that they say. I'm going to remember that. And then personality, how the conversation goes, that all helps factor into how you'll be remembered. And that, working in that personality with value, and just being yourself and being genuine, really creates a powerful elevator speech. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, and this is kind of a perfect segue, I don't need to worry about an elevator speech. We can't have in-person events anymore. Well, work on a virtual elevator speech. And when we say virtual, we really mean LinkedIn messaging. So, and again, perfect segue. Work on a message. And if you're a little introverted like I am, I know it doesn't seem like it, but I'm an extroverted introvert. You can type up stuff and practice, and then go into some select, message people on LinkedIn and send them your elevator speech, so you can prep and practice that before you even see them in person or get on a phone call. Obviously, it's not the best. People like human interaction, but it's a great way to practice now, so you can practice sending it through LinkedIn messages, all this stuff, and you'll be good to go. But kind of getting into LinkedIn, that's really the best avenue right now for so many people, especially students. If you're not on LinkedIn, I can't stress enough how much you should be on LinkedIn. Even there's so many varieties of professions that looked on LinkedIn, look for talent on LinkedIn, and it's so easy to connect with someone and find people that you're connected with. I think I'm like a second degree connection with Bill Gates or so. There was some famous person on LinkedIn that popped up of my like recommended people I should add or follow, and it was like he was a second degree connection, and I was like, oh wow, I'm pretty important. I'm not at all, but just start connecting with people, and if you haven't made a LinkedIn profile already, please make one. And Kim, I'm not sure if you got the LinkedIn guide that I'd sent over, but a friend of mine who owns a social media company and a website company created this, I don't know, 20-page document of how to beef up your LinkedIn and how to make it more appealing to companies. And can we send that to them after this?
Yep. So at the end of this, there will be a QR code for everyone to scan who's on the call today. And those who scan the QR code, I'll know you were here, and I can send out that LinkedIn guide that Mario's talking about right now.
Yes. So, but basically what that guide goes over, and what, I mean, advice, and Andrew, feel free to add in what you've seen as well, is it's meant to demonstrate who you are as a professional. So get a professional headshot done, fill out the information, and go in depth about what you've done as a professional, as a student. What experiences have you had that make you more attractive? And it kind of goes back into the elevator speech of, why am I the most valuable candidate for this job, for this position, for whatever you're trying to do? And sell your value proposition in your LinkedIn through your experiences and through your LinkedIn profile. So make sure that stuff's good. And Andrew, if you'd like to hop in.
Yes. So having that great profile, again, you want to talk about what you're looking for. So your header is very important, where it says, recent graduate seeking full-time position in, and then mention the industry. And, they want recruiters. You want to be able to make sure that your profile is searchable to recruiters. So you want to click that setting where it says that you are open for opportunities. And then if you're just a student, talk about projects you've worked on. You could put attachments in, so put your resume. If you're featured on a website or there's a video of you on YouTube, like the one that I did for the University of Akron, I put that on there. Any organizations you're involved with, if you volunteer, if you do any charitable work, put that on there. And then, do some posts. So obviously LinkedIn is not Facebook. You want to make sure it's business, professional, that if you're going to promote yourself, for example, I've seen a lot of recent posts from students saying, after 4 long years, I finally graduated with my bachelor's or my master's. These are a couple of my achievements, and they posted their diploma, and I've seen them getting hundreds of likes. And I did was with Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I said, what a great partner he is with Goodyear, and I got over 20,000 views on that. And then if you even hashtag certain things, like if you're passionate about volunteering, you do hashtag giving or week of volunteering or something like that, it catches on. And then that's how your profile becomes an all-star profile. That means, and you can track how many views you get over the course of weeks, and you can see the spikes. Well, what did you do that week to get 1,000 hits on your profile, right? Did you talk about something? So do those. I always don't be afraid to reach out to people in HR or recruiters that are for companies that you're interested in. That's going to help you get on top of mind when they're looking through resume. It's like, oh, hey, I just got a LinkedIn invite from this person, and now I see their application. Oh, let me check out their profile. So just trying to make that connection with recruiters and hiring managers.
To go off of that, awesome advice. But LinkedIn, and especially now when we can't meet people in person, is so valuable for you. And part of LinkedIn is, yes, it's a professional social networking site, but just like anything else, engagement and how much you engage with it as an individual really helps sell you to the algorithm and to your professional network as well. And what I mean by engagement is post, absolutely post, but make posts that are engaging. Don't just share an article or something on LinkedIn that says, great article. Explain why you thought it was a great article. Explain what insight you got from it, or as a professional in market research, you got this information from this article, and share it with your network. Add something to something if you're going to post or repost something. Comment, 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 comment. As you start building your LinkedIn network, comment on other people's posts. It's not a vacuum. People want to see, and the LinkedIn algorithm wants to see, just like any other social media platform, engagement. Are you liking? Are you interacting? Are you commenting on people's posts? And I cannot tell you how many times, just me personally, when someone has commented on my post, and not just a comment of, this is great, a thoughtful comment of, this was a really interesting article. I think it's this. It's almost, and I'm sure the students can relate to this, it's almost like the discussion threads on Blackboard, or I see, what's it called again? Is it
Brightspace.
Brightspace, yeah. You know how, I'm sure this has been assigned, but how professors make you go in and comment on certain people's posts. I think they still do that. They did that when I was there. But it's almost like that, but engage because you want to, and you found something that is valuable to you. And as you do that, engage with more of your audience, you are going to stand out to people. And when I say people, be thoughtful about who you add in your network. Don't just add anyone. If you're looking for a certain job, let's say you want to work at Goodyear, reach out and connect with people. That's one of the beauties of the tool of LinkedIn is, if you wanted to work at Goodyear, you could go on there right now and search HR manager, hiring manager, account representative at Goodyear, because the tools are so robust, and you can connect with them. Now, they probably won't know you if you're a student, but that's where this elevator speech and all this and personal branding and all this is going to tie together. Is if you have a well-crafted base virtual elevator speech, let's say, tweak it to this person. So if you're reaching out to the HR manager, say, hi, Kim, I'm a student at the University of Akron. I'm looking for experience during these times. I know things are tough right now with this pandemic, but I think I offer, or some of my strongest skills are X, Y, and Z. I'd like to do X, Y, and Z for you. Again, include something of value if you're going to reach out to these people. And then finally, have an ask at the end of, I'd love to hop on a call and just learn more, or I'd love to connect on here, and I hope we can make the connection just to keep up to date. But that personal touch is a great way, and messaging people directly that you may not know is a great way to get practice with your elevator speech, sell yourself, build your network, and lay the seeds for some potential work if they're not hiring right now. I guarantee you, if you send them a message, comment on their posts, engage with them, you are going to be at the top of their mind when they're looking for someone to hire, to do business with, whatever the case may be. So engage, engage, engage. Post, comment, message.
Yeah, another thing is, when you're looking at a certain company they're interested in and you're doing your background research, on LinkedIn, it'll tell you how many alumni from your university work at that company. So then you could start adding those. You can say, hey, we're both University of Akron graduates. This is my experience from the University of Akron. Get that conversation going. And then, oh, by the way, I'm interested in being a part of this company. What would some of your recommendations be, or who are some people that I should reach out to if I'm interested in working here?
Yes. And again, I mean, at the end of the day, every hiring manager, every person who works at a company, they are a person at the end of the day. There's people reading these messages. There's people making these decisions. So interact with them as if they are people, but be respectful with their time and offer value to them. If someone did that to me, if there was a very talented videographer, maybe there's one in this chat, that reached out and said, hey, this is what I can do. These are my skills. This is why I'd like to work here, or this is why I'd love to stay connected. Let me know. I would put them at the very top of the list because they showed initiative and they actually care enough than, 100 applicants that a company may be getting, that I'm going to consider them first and foremost. I mean, it's that simple. It's a human interacting with another human at the end of the day. So I think that's what we wanted to cover on LinkedIn.
And I think I'll just add, I think what you've covered here, just to kind of summarize, is that it's about outreach as much as it is about attracting, connections too. So I think you're getting some feedback. So I'll take myself off here in a second. But, it's about kind of the outreach. You're laying the foundation for later. It's all about relationship building. And the fact is, any company that you're applying to is going to look at your profile. So, all of this is really good advice as you're, quote, kind of branding yourself out there. So those are all really fantastic tidbits. So I'll put myself on mute because I think there's some feedback. We'll go to the next slide.
Oh, you're fine. And that's the thing about branding yourself. And Kim, if you want to go to the next slide too, because I think it kind of, networking. I think it kind of goes, your personal brand will develop as time goes on. And especially on LinkedIn, you're going to start being known for certain things, or depending on what you post, and if you think about it strategically, you can become known as not necessarily the expert on market research, but a reliable, trustworthy source of data on, hey, this market trend happened or something like that. People may look to you and value your opinion on it as time goes on. And that's how you build that personal brand, is just constant engagement, constant interaction with people. Sorry, Andrew. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, no, we're good. Go ahead. We're good.
Oh yeah, no, but that's building that personal brand. And I mean, it all just goes into networking. And I know networking is very hard to do when you can't gather in groups of 10 or more people. But again, doing it virtually, LinkedIn, reaching out to people, messaging them, practicing that elevator speech, and just interacting with other humans and showing how you can benefit them. That's really all this kind of is when you're searching for a job. Interaction, relationships. There was one other point
I would say, virtual networking is very key right now with using tools like LinkedIn. But when you do face-to-face networking, what I found it'd be easier if you have that wing person. So if you're going to an event, instead of going by yourself, maybe invite your colleague or another classmate, and then you guys can work off of each other and do that whole introduction. Oh, hey, this is so-and-so. We've together. We're here for this reason. We want to meet professionals in the same industry, or we're looking to get in this industry, or we're recent graduates and we're looking at seeing what companies are hiring. And so that's kind of your purpose. And then when you're connecting with that individual, try to find things that you guys have in common. Again, that whole value proposition too, because if they're listening and, initially you may not know what their job function is, that, may not be that important because you want to treat everybody with respect and equally. And you find out you just spoke to the vice president, the CEO of a company, that makes it even better. But again, be authentic to who you are, but initially you don't know who you're talking to. So you don't want to make any preconceived judgments about that person yet. So, you build up that conversation, and then let's say at the end there is a connection, and that's where it says, kind of, I would say, do a follow-up. And, hey, we had this great conversation, shoot an email, or if you got their phone number, a text message, hey, we just met at this event the other night. Remember, we talked about this. I'd like to stay connected, and perhaps we can get coffee down the road if you feel that there was an even better connect. But, when I go to like a trade show, or I have customers that I'm meeting for the first, they're really interested in about our product. What can we do for them? How can you help our business? But then, as an associate for the company, then I want to show my appreciation for them. There's no customer that's too small, and just say, hey, thank them for their business if you're on that professional end.
And, networking is always just a ton of fun. Just a little bit of sarcasm in that statement. But Now, networking at events is, if you don't know anyone there, it's very intimidating. And it obviously depends on your personality and who you are as a person. But if you go somewhere to an event once they start happening again and you don't know someone, it's very hard to walk up to a complete stranger and say, "Hi, I'm X, Y, and Z. Tell me about, this is who I am. Tell me about yourself." But if you can ever bring, going off of Andrew's point, if you can ever bring a friend or a wingman man or women or, someone there that you know or are friends with, that is a great way to meet someone new, or they might know someone that you don't know and they can introduce you to them to them. But I think kind of through all of this, how do you do it now when events aren't happening? Again, going back to LinkedIn, reaching out, messaging people. And it doesn't have to, and this may be a personal case for me, it doesn't have to be just on LinkedIn. If you have a relationship with someone, like someone well enough, I've connected with CMOs, principals of schools on Facebook. I follow them on Twitter. I will send Facebook messages to people, and this has happened during this pandemic. Is I've shot some people a message and I've said, "Hey, do you want to have a 30-minute coffee session over Zoom or over Cisco, whatever?" And if you know the person or if you'd like to get to know them, and again, this could be in your very first message that you send to people on LinkedIn, say, "Hey, I see we're in the same industry. I'd like to get to know you a little bit better, or we're the same age." Yes, I am. Yes, Dr. Owens, I am an introvert, an extroverted introvert. It's just very hard to tell. So after this, trust me, I'm going to be exhausted. But anyway, reaching out and saying, "Hey, I know we can't meet in person right now, but I'd love to connect. Can we do a 20, 30-minute cup of coffee, get to know each other?" Totally. Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I've seen other people send that in emails, and I have sent that in emails. And another thing you can do, which is a really nice personal touch, which is something that I've started doing, is we all have one of these, a smartphone or some video recording device. Send someone a personalized video message. This is some really next level stuff, but let's say you want to reach out with someone, network, and build a relationship with someone. Turn your webcam on, use your iPhone, and record them a message with your elevator pitch in it, telling them who you are and saying, "Hey, Kim, I saw you're in this industry. I am as well. I'd love to connect, and maybe we could schedule a virtual coffee or something like that sometime. I feel like you would be a good person to have in my network, and if not, totally fine, but I hope to get to know you a little bit more, or something that's not totally creepy," and send it away. And that just blows people away because you never see that level of attention and commitment. And that's how you start building relationships, is taking that first step and saying, "Hey, this is who I am. I'd love to connect or keep in touch somehow." And this is how you can do it virtually: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. So, yep.
So, Kim, can we ask the group how many people are job seeking right now? So they can be employed, but job seeking, maybe they're furloughed. How many people are just kind of students that are looking for the first job? Even that would fall into this group. I kind of want to get a feel of how many people that are looking on jobs, building their resume, talking to recruiters and hiring managers. So that'll help kind of us to kind of focus how we go about doing getting hired. So one thing with my network, professors you've had classes with, or classes with other companies, you guys did your undergrad or MBA together, and now you're both successful. Talking to those people, what I've done now is, is there somebody that that you were looking to get connected with, but you don't know, how to reach that person, whether that person's a vice president or CEO. What I've done is I've actually tapped in somebody that, they're older than me, they have more experience, they're in a higher level, and then have that person bridge the gap. So I've asked for a letter of recommendation, and this person actually sent it to the CEO of the company saying, "Hey, I want to refer this great candidate that I've gotten to know for the past 10 years, and I think he'd be a great fit for this company. Can you guys get him a, and then he's like, the CEO said, yeah, we can get him an interview. But I'll be honest, right now we're not hiring a lot of associates or new hires. But we'll give him a shot, or at least you'll get that opportunity. That is asking for recommendations on your LinkedIn profile on, hey, this person, Dr. Owens, wrote me a recommendation saying, oh, Andrew was a great student, and over my career and all that. So that kind of helps when people are looking at your profile. Wow, this person's got a lot of recommendations. If the more you're getting talked about by your network, the better it is for you, and that builds up your credibility. And if one person says that he or she's a great student, okay, that may just be their favorite student. But if 10 or 20 people say that, then it has to be a fact, right?
Yeah, I wanna just add really quick to what you said about tapping your network and asking for referrals. And students listening, if you're really looking for a job somewhere, or hey, I know I want to do something in marketing, or I know I need a job, or I know I need an internship, I don't know where to start. Ask Kim, ask Aaron Liggett, ask a teacher that you have a good relationship with. Ask anyone and say, hi, listen, I'm really looking for an internship, maybe at this company, or I'm really looking for someplace here. And, especially if you have a good relationship with them, I can't tell you how many professionals just know other professionals, and people like Kim and Aaron, where it is their job to get you guys jobs. They know so many people, and I'm sure they would be more than happy to introduce you to anyone in their networks, or you would be very surprised. Dr. Owens, she is an extremely well-connected person. She's great. If you asked her, say, hey, Dr. Owens, I'm looking for this, you kind of, a little bit about me, I'm wondering if you would be willing to give me a recommendation. Make sure the relationship you have with them is good. You don't want it to reflect bad on them, but just think about, you're going to college and you already have relationships in college. Leverage those already as you go out and you're seeking future opportunities. So
yeah, that's super good advice. We always tell students it's never going to be easier than it is right now. We set up things like this. We're bringing business professionals to you. And so one of the comments in the chat was from Donald Jensen, who's also on our career services team. And he was like, hey, you should connect with these two facilitators on LinkedIn. So we tell students, like, it's never going to be easier to participate. Most of the time, we're just asking you to show up and engage a little bit during the session. But, take advantage of those opportunities to connect with the business professionals we're bringing to you. And then to Mario's point, yeah, we can, if you want to do some outreach to us and let us know what you're looking for, we can help too. So these resources are available to you. So thanks for the shout out. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and let me follow up and thanks for the shout out there. But I paid him to say that. But the reality is that is such an important point, because I don't know, many of you know Jessica Bush. She just recently graduated, and she used to hang out and study in that big marketing area that we have. And I knew her as a student, but she said to me just offhanded, hey, I'm looking for an internship. This was for this past spring. Literally that afternoon, someone contacted me looking for an intern. And I immediately told her, I said, make sure you don't delay too much, because sometimes students like, hey, I didn't call them for 2 weeks, and guess what? It was filled. Well, no kidding. And she did. She now worked for them as an intern this past semester and was hired in a full-time position very recently at that same firm. And so, we want to help you, but the more that you can tell us what you're looking for and the type of interest that you would have, that is excellent advice. So thanks for sharing that. That's really, really good.
Oh, thank you. No, but that's an exact example of what I'm talking about, and I've witnessed so many times. And that is the world of business: is people want to do business. People will give business to who they want to give business to, or people will hire who they want to hire or who they know. If someone refers you, that referrals are always, no matter what industry you're in, are always so peak. They're amazing quality. So ask what opportunities are out there, and you'd be surprised at what you'd find. So I don't know. Next slide. Is it that time? It's 1:40. Wow. Time flies. And I didn't even have coffee before this one. So, The biggest thing with resumes, Andrew, I'm sure you can offer a ton of good experience for this. I'm in a little bit of a unique situation of where I don't necessarily, when I'm looking to work with someone, I will look at their resumes, but I want to see what they've done and what they've made. So I think the whole point of resumes is to showcase your experience in a nice, easy to read, and digestible format. That still is the case, but now there's so many tools like LinkedIn to help amplify that resume as well. Use that. And I think it all comes back to have experiences that you're willing to showcase and can talk about. So an internship's great, but man, you know how much you could learn from 3 internships or an internship and a part-time job in the field that you're trying to study. Or let's say you develop websites, or you're in the marketing area and you make websites. That is experience. You're going to learn things like teamworking skills, communication skills, some technical aspects of things from some side hustles or side things that you do. Include all of this experience. You students are in the perfect time of your life, obviously not with a pandemic, but the time of your life to where you can ask people for almost anything and they would be more than happy to help you out. So ask what you can do for people, for hiring managers, even for a small business to get experience. Let's say you were interested in social media management, or you wanted to run some marketing campaigns or be a project manager. I couldn't tell you how many very small businesses right now are hurting so much because of the pandemic. And for them to get an updated website, or someone to help supplement their social media posts, or someone to just take care of, maybe you go and you reach out to a small business and say, hey, I'd like to develop a brand for you completely free. I think it won't take me too long, but I don't have much experience and I love to have this experience. What business owner or individual, if you reached out to them and offered to do something of value for free, would say, nah, we're good. Thanks, though. We're perfectly fine. Get as much experience as you can now and make sure you reflect all of those experiences and the results of those experiences in your resume, in your LinkedIn, and in your elevator pitch. Andrew?
Yeah. So what I've seen, resumes have evolved. I would say 15 years ago, when I kind of entered the job market, we had resume paper, right? That fancy paper that you would mail out to people, and some people they'd spray a perfume or cologne on because that's their scent or whatever, and the formatting was pretty consistent amongst all candidates. But what I've seen as millennials and Gen Zs have applied, they've changed the game of resume writing. Some of them I've seen are super fancy. They use a lot of graphics now, and I've even seen one where they do a scale of, I'm a 5 in Microsoft Excel, and then I'm a 4 in communications, email writing, all that course. And then my whole thing with a resume is, again, make it a reflection of who you are. This is your brand. And what I've seen is, depending on the job you're applying for, make sure that you tailor that towards the job specification for that company and that position you're applying for. Because again, if you're going to go through a company's career site and they're using a third-party recruiter, they're going to filter through hundreds, if not thousands, of resumes or applications, and they're going to pick through keywords in that person's resume that meets this job criteria. And if you don't have that, you're going to be filtered out. So you want to customize your resume. Like, you have your base resume of all your skills, but then when there's a job that you're applying for, take what's relevant for that job, or even put in keywords. Like, if they're looking for somebody in SEO, search engine optimization, make sure that you put on there that you have experience doing something related to that field, or else you're gonna be deemed not relevant or not qualified. If you feel you're qualified, make sure that that's reflective in your resume. What I've been told in the past is, make sure that your resume tells a story about your achievements or accomplishments. Again, why should they hire you? If they just look on paper, you want to make sure that you seem like the perfect ideal candidate. Maybe not the perfect ideal candidate, but hey, I want to at least talk to this person and see what they're about, and how they were able to achieve these things. In my career, what I do is I talk figures in, instead of just writing year over year growth, I want to say I grew the business by 10% in top line revenue, margin by 8%. I was able to grow sales from 100,000 to 150,000, that sort of thing. So you want to be able to quantify that. And that was one thing. Confidential information, but as long as it's public knowledge or it's something that you can share and it's not sure the master manager has to make sure that you can quantify your achievements, because that's what people want to ask me, this to help your business or if profitability person has done it before, they do it again, so they have past experience. Now if you're looking for an entry level position and information and attach that to an application. When they ask for, is there anything else you want to attach? Cover letter, projects, reports, attach that. Show what you've done. If it was an honors project, show that. They want to see your presentation style, maybe if this job requires you speaking in front of customers. So really study the job profile, the application, and submit your resume off of that. Now, if you're not qualified, don't make stuff up, because that's gonna come back and bite you later. That's the part about being authentic. But make sure that you meet the criteria. But then again, to Mario's point, how can I help you with your business? What would hiring me? Why should you hire me over the other 100 candidates? What makes me special? That's what you want to highlight in your resume.
That's awesome advice. That was great.
Don't forget to use the chat for questions if you guys have questions for our facilitators.
Won't there be a session on interviewing virtually?
Yeah, so as part of this series, actually, so what you're getting right now for those of you who are on the call is kind of the crash course in some of these things. LinkedIn, we will have a link to a full 1 hour session on LinkedIn and a full 1 hour session on virtual interviewing as well. So the LinkedIn session is 2 weeks from now, and the virtual interviewing is at the end of July. So yes, you're right.
I was just, because I recalled you saying that and just wanted to, I'm sure you were going to let them know anyway. But yeah, the biggest thing with resumes, and then I think we'll get to the last, the interviewing one, correct? Or research, I'm sorry, I'm lost in the slide deck. But really the biggest thing with resumes is just have relevant experiences and tailor that to the exact type of job you're looking for. Let's say, because I know a lot of students, you probably have a part-time job, you might be bartending or you might be working in food service, and those are great jobs and they probably pay really well. But if you're going to apply at, let's say an entry-level marketing position and you don't have any experience marketing, you've only had classes, for some jobs that could be fine. But for a lot of jobs, you have to be able to show them something that you've done. So go and look for experiences where you can gain relevant experiences. And if you can't find any, again, make something, do a case study, do something so you have some sort of relevant experiences to show to a potential future employer. So then last slide, yeah. Okay, research. I think, and Andrew, you can touch on this as much as you'd like, but I think really LinkedIn has made this super duper easy of, let's say, like we talked about at the very beginning, you want to work somewhere in this new environment where you can't meet people in person. If you want to work at Smucker's, go to LinkedIn, search Smucker's, HR, anything with the word Smucker's, and I'm sure you're going to get results. And then have that elevator pitch ready, have that message ready, send them a personalized video message if you'd really like to stand out, and just start the conversation from there. So you're going in to an event or setting yourself up for a phone call, knowing who this person is. And before you do that, and that's really the whole point of this, is if you know you want to work at Smuckers, do some research on them, and don't go to Smuckers and ask, so you guys, what do you sell? Is it just jelly? I think. Are you tires? Are you the tire company? So
yeah, that'll get you the, oh, sorry, this is gonna end.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, it shows that you were not respectful of their time, and they don't want to waste their time informing you on what this company does, because it's a ton of things. So walk in at least a little bit familiar with whether it's in person or online, and know a little bit about the company or the person that you're talking to and what their background is. Career fairs, again, review in advance.
Yeah.
Interviews. Andrew, I know when we had talked, you have some advice. Oh, no, I was just going to cue you up for interviews because I know you had some good stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So I've been interviewing a lot this past 3 months. Just being furloughed, a lot of time to think. It's in having the time. Why not interview? I just wanted to sit around, and this is bettering yourself, and it's constant practice too. I've interviewed for at least 5 different companies, gone from anywhere between just your headhunter or your recruiter up to the hiring manager and then final decision maker. My first thing is your resume is going to get you noticed. That's going to be, okay, this person is qualified. The recruiter, so the recruiter can either be a third-party recruiter or a recruiter for that company. They're going to screen you. They're going to do that, maybe a 30-minute phone call to see what you're about, if there's a personal a fit with the company, and whether or not that recruiter is going to recommend you to the hiring manager. So that recruiter is going to probably talk to the top 20 to 30 candidates that have applied for this job, and they're going to ask some general questions. Hey, just tell me about your background. What interests you in our company? And then that's when you're like, I'm really passionate about dog food. That's why I applied for this dog food position at Smuckers, because I've had dogs my whole life. I care about their nutrition, but talk about that connection. Why are you interested in Goodyear? Oh, I'm really into cars. I watch NASCAR on the weekends. I know you guys are a big sponsor of theirs, that sort of thing, right? So, that's interest. Oh, great. This person really is passionate about our brand. Or, hey, I drink Pepsi every day or something like that. That's why I want to be an ambassador for you guys, that sort of thing, right? So, again, show your passion. If you're doing it over the phone, what they say is speak smiling, because they can hear that through your voice. You want to be positive, upbeat, and just very, even if the market's doing bad or that company has not performed well, be optimistic. Say, oh yeah, I know, I can be a part of the change, or how you can contribute. So the recruiter's going to say, oh, this person is very interested. I think this there's going to be a good fit, and they're going to recommend you to the hiring manager. So this is where it's going to be the hard part, right? This person is going to drill you, because they're going to bring in maybe 2 of their team members on to interview as well, or there's going to be a series of interviews, and you're going to have to meet with a lot of decision makers, people that are stakeholders in this position, because you're going to be working directly with them. So they're going to be looking for, are you able to kind of tell a story on how you can benefit them? So this is where they say, a lot of companies practice the STAR method: situational, task, action, and results. So the situation and task goes, and then what the action is, how did you directly participate, directly resolve this? And then what was the result? Oh, because I did this, we were able to achieve a 10% growth in sales, or we were able to meet the deadline, deliver the product to the customer, and then you want to show that. So this is where you practice multiple scenarios, and I would just encourage you to go on YouTube, go online, and practice this. And there's so many different great videos that I've listened to on YouTube. Just type in STAR responses or answering interview questions, but they're going to hit you with multiple situations. Hey, give me a time where you had to face a challenge, or give me a time where you had to convince a group of people to go with your direction, and that sort of thing. Or has there been a time where you were unsuccessful? What was that like? And you want to be able to develop good responses that don't take 10 minutes to explain. I mean, that's been my mistake in a few times was it took too long. I was maybe describing the situation or I was talking about the industry too much and not into about myself. So my timing was off. But again, that's why you do interviews is to practice. And you're gonna catch yourself along the way. Maybe you trip up, but hey, that's not the end of the world. If you trip up, just pick up where you left off, or take a minute to think about it. You know, just because they ask the question doesn't mean you have to, jump on the answer right away. Maybe take a couple seconds, think about it, or if you really are just thrown for a loop, can you say, can we skip that for now and get back to it? I need to kind of think about it a little bit more or something like that, but don't do that too much. But there's a lot of great advice out there on the interview, and being that you're doing a virtual interview right now probably is still dress very professional as you were going to go for an in-person interview. Make sure you're in a nice room with proper setting. Make sure you're aware of what's in the background. I don't want to see people tell me like, oh, I've been in an interview and then, my bar was back there or I had bottles of alcohol or just whatever in the background. It just doesn't look good. You industry, automotive industry, whatever it is, understand like what's going on, about, what competition is factories back up or what's going on. Just be relevant to that business and understand some history on this company. Why does it soccer? This 120-year-old company started here in Northeast Iowa, and they own all those, stuff. So at least have some history and then knowledge about the position. What are expectations and what are your job performances for this job that you applied for? So and then follow up, still send the thank you notes or thank you emails. Hey, thank you for your time. I was, really enjoyed speaking with you. Please let me know what I can do. Do you have any follow-ups? That sort of thing. So that's all on the interviewee and the job applicant to do all that. And that's just going to hopefully set you apart because right now you're going to be competing with a lot of people that may even be overqualified for positions. So one of the benefits on LinkedIn is I got a 6-month free trial for a premium membership, and it tells you how many people apply for the job, what levels they are, and then how do you fit in amongst that crowd. So say, oh, you're in the 50th percentile of applicants. There's 500 applicants. 10% of them are director positions, 20% are GMs, and 50% are manager levels. And it'll tell you, here are your skills and how they meet up. Oh, you only meet 5 out of 10 skills they're looking for, or great, you meet 9 out of 10, that sort of thing. It shows how expectations for yourself on whether or not you're going to get the job. So I've been telling people that, like, don't just apply for that 1 or 2 jobs that you're a perfect fit for. Cast a wider net, apply for 10, 20 jobs that you're interested in, that you're qualified to do at various different companies, whether they're private, public, a small cap or a large cap, but put it out there. And then if you get that call back and that recruiter says, hey, we'd like to set up time to talk to you about this job, take it and then do your research, understand, come prepared with notes, and make sure when you're done speaking to the recruiter, ask some questions. Are you looking to fill this role in the next month? Are you backfilling a position or is this a new position?
Yeah.
So we'll go facilitators, but for those of you who may need to hop off, here is the QR code for you to scan for you to get credit for our EDGE Professional Development Program. And for those of you who may be logging on for credit for class, you can go ahead and hold your phone up to the screen right now and scan that QR code. I'll throw it back to our facilitators in just a second for some closing thoughts, but wanted to throw this up for those of you who might need to jump off. And I also, while everyone's still on the call, just want to express sincere thank you to our facilitators. These sessions are not possible without you. And every time I log into one of these, I just get such great nuggets of advice from our facilitators. So just really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule in this really crazy schedule that you must have just to spend some time with us. It's really, really valuable. So thank you. Thank you to all the students who, and colleagues and leadership of the CBA for logging on as well. So I'll just throw it back, maybe just a couple minutes back to the facilitators just for some kind of parting advice. Oh, and I should mention our series continues next week. And the week after, and just all of June and July. So you'll get plenty of emails. We hope you'll join us again next week at 1 p.m. So Andrew, Mario, any kind of parting advice for the students before they hop off?
Yeah, I have one. So I just want to share this book that I read. I met Carla Harris at a Goodyear event. She's a senior executive at Morgan Stanley Bank, but think strong Black woman, Harvard graduate. She is, she was, if you look at her resume and her portfolio, I mean, it's just too much to list, but she talks about pearls of wisdom and just 10 great strategies to do when you're looking for a job or when you Dr. Owen said every day is an interview. That's absolutely true. You're going to be judged. You're building up a reputation. People are going to have perceptions of who you are. So every day you want to, put your best foot forward. You want to be the best example that you can be of who you are. But, a lot of great advice, but really your career needs to be managed and you have to have an agenda, a game plan set for yourself. You just don't want to go into a job or go into a company and just go with the flow, things are going to happen for me if I just work hard. You need to set a career path for yourself, saying that very specifically, at 5 years, I want to be at this position with this salary, and the next 10 years, 20 years, and then ultimately when I retire, this is where I want my career to be. Not everyone wants to be a CEO or senior vice president, but if that is your goal, you have to you have 20, 25, 30 years of, work experience to achieve that. How can I stay on my path? And I've had great advice saying that your career is not a ladder. It's more like a pyramid, and you're going to have to go both taking lateral moves. You may have to go down a step to move up. It's just very complicated. And it's like you set your GPS. Roadblocks, there could be construction, there could be detours, but ultimately try not to lose your way, or if you have to change your destination, you have to change your destination. If you find out this company or this industry isn't right for me and I've been leaning my ladder on the wrong wall the past 5 years, it's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to reset, I'm going to shift my ladder onto something that I'm passionate about now and what I'm interested in now. That's totally fine too. So, I encourage everyone to just study about how do I achieve the career that I want? Because ultimately, when we retire or we look back later on in life, is we don't want to have any regrets. We don't want to look back and say, 10 years ago, I really wish I didn't have that job, or I wish I really didn't make that move. So you want to try to live in the present, but then have that vision of where you want to be down the road. And then, that way you don't have any regrets later on in life.
That was awesome advice. Oh man, that's a tough one to follow. Jeez. No, I think really just the biggest thing for all this, and especially for students, is just take the time and prepare. I know a lot of younger people that so many people just don't like to take the initiative and start doing. That's not younger people. That's just people in general. But if you just take the time, prepare your LinkedIn, prepare your elevator speech, prepare your resume, prepare for interviews. It will show. You will get better. Just take the time, take the first steps, and start doing. It doesn't have to be a lot. You could spend an hour a week on it. Just slowly keep pushing the needle forward and planning and being ready for that next stage in your career and in life. So, thank you.
Fantastic. so much to all of you. Appreciate it. Oh, perfect. Andrew just put the book is called Expect to Win by Carla Harris for those of you who are interested. So, all right, with that, we're going to close. Thank you again to our facilitators. Thank you all of you for attending. We'll see you all next week, Wednesday at 1 p.m. for a session, Reinventing Yourself. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everybody.
Good luck, everyone.